So next up on the agenda is policy 2310, public participation at board meetings. And so I was the one who asked for that, so I'll go ahead and take the lead, and then we can start talking from there. And before we get going, I just want to make it clear, I've made it clear to every media outlet that's asked and every person that has asked, is that I am not here to make a change all on my own. That I just want to have the discussion with our board to see if we can find better ways, different ways to make sure that more people, and not physically the number, but more people have a chance to talk about their topic. We have had a number of people, I've gotten some individual ones. We've heard several people at Call to the Audience talk about that it's very difficult to get a spot on the agenda in Call to the Audience. And so I just started trying to think of ways that we could get to that. So what I had done was I, again, went to several of other boards around the state. I looked at Brunswick County, I looked at Pender County, Wake County, Charlotte Meck, Durham, Guilford, and Johnson County. And I picked those for my first assessment because Pender and Brunswick are our neighbors. And then I looked at the other group in the top 12, which we are part of the 12 largest school districts in the state. So I was looking to see what they did for their talking time. And it's very interesting across the board. And I actually did make a couple phone calls too. One thing that stuck out to me the most is that we offer the most time of anybody that I looked at on for the public commentary. We allow an hour. Most other places allow only 30 minutes. And Pender doesn't have theirs listed what they do, but I've heard theirs is only 20 minutes. But that's just, I couldn't verify that. So that to me was like one thing, is that we're giving the most amount of time, which maybe it makes it it's more evident that we have more people talking, so more people might be wanting to talk about the same topic. One of the other things that I noticed as we were looking there is that on a lot of these school boards, the board chair gets to decide how long their speakers get to talk. And so that's not going to work in our county, because that's not something I want to take on myself and saying, okay, this week we're going to talk a minute, this week we're going to talk 2 minutes, because people have to have a chance to prepare their speeches. And overwhelmingly, what everybody does is when they have a large number, and large is, beauty in the eyes of the beholder, you have to just pick what large means. When they have a large number of people signed up for the same thing, the board chair asks that they combined and have one person be their spokesperson. 2 reasons. One is to keep the meeting moving more quickly, and to just consolidate the talking and give more people, more topics a chance to be done. So that was the research I did to just kind of get us started. And then, so one of the ones that struck me, I'd heard from several people, but Wake County does this. They do have a random number generator where people call in, or they sign up online, and then they do a random number generator, and those people are still called in the order that the people who signed up first in the random number generator go first. So that's how because almost all these ones that I was looking at, they're all using the North Carolina School Board Association policy. So it was pretty easy to thumb through and read these kind of things. So another thing, just as an aside note, what I found was there's 2 school districts that actually make you have to sign up to even get a seat in your board meeting, because their spaces are smaller. So some people are having to sign up just to get in the building. So I'm like, okay, well, at least we're past that. We don't have to worry about letting people in. So random number generator was one. We can go back to the way that was happening pre-COVID. where you have to actually sign up at the back, and when the sheet fills up, then the sheet fills up. There is, and someone had suggested to me, you come and you sign in and you get a raffle ticket, and then you do the random number drawing right there, so that everybody gets a chance again to sign up to do that. We can still stay with that, or we can just stay the same. So that's all I wanted, was for us just to have a conversation on how are we best meeting the needs of our community, so that the majority, anybody that wants to talk has an equal opportunity to get to talk. It was not in any way, shape, or form meant to limit people to talk to us. And it's not being pointed out that to silence those voices that keep coming or that take up the whole meeting. It was meant to get more people involved in the input process for a more diverse set of topics. And if we don't need that, then we can always go back. So, Mr. Wildenberg.
This is where I should have said what I said before. So I do apologize to the board for taking your time before. But I think we've talked for almost a year now about having town hall type situations. And so I would now like to make that motion that I made before, that the Board of Education hold a meeting every third month, March, July, and September. And again, that's with the movement. And that is for the only purpose of hearing our stakeholders and our public. And have a 2-hour period, and that's the only business we do. We pledge allegiance, we have our invocation, and that's all we do for that time, is we listen to our folks. It'll be the second meeting of those 3 months, so we take that time. And I think that we should do, as you just said, I think we should have, and I talked to our safety person outside, and have that sign up here, not online. Let people come here. So I think you had quoted the other day, Ms. Craybill, that there were 9 people that didn't show up last time. That way, if they come here and they sign up, first come, first serve, have it a half hour before we start our meeting, and then they would be able to sign up, and they're obviously here because they just signed up. So.
Point of order, Madam Chair, I'm not sure we can take action on this item since it's placed under information. Can we get some clarification on that?
So there's nothing illegal about the board taking up Mr. Wildebor's vote. The way that your agenda is structured, obviously, is for you to have information items and action items in certain places, but that's just for the convenience of the board with respect to running of its meetings. There's not a legal issue with taking up Mr. Wildebor's motion if the board would like to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Adams.
I have a clarifying question. I like the idea. Would it then replace those interim meetings?
It would.
Okay.
My idea, if I could finish, that idea, and I'm thinking, from the board, that way we can actually focus 100% on the constituents, the folks that want to talk to us for that period of 2 hours. If only enough people sign up to be an hour and a half, then it's only an hour and a half. But that's our only focus for that night, is hearing from our audience.
I'll second.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Walker?
I mean, he's made the motion, I just was asking something to clarify, is that okay?
Well, we're going to discuss, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess, whatever, he just did. Did he second, he just seconded?
Yeah, he seconded it.
Okay, we can now have discussion. Okay,
Yes,
that's what I
okay.
was just saying.
Well, we can have discussion anytime, but.
Oh, okay, I was trying to do it in order.
Okay.
So, Mr. Oliver, would these town halls be themed town halls, or would they be about anything? Would we be able to answer back? Like, how would you kind
I
of?
think we should open it up to hear whatever they have to say. So, and I use the word town hall. I think my idea would be we eventually get to that point where we should have dialogue. I think right at this point, I think we should just have it as an extension of the call of eventually we can actually have that dialogue back and forth. My motion here is just to have call of order.
Okay. I'd like to comment on that before we get into voting. So it's, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit. The Family Communications Committee has really not been operating as a committee because we felt the need to get more of these town hall kind of discussions out. So over the past couple months, there has been an invitation to every parent to come to the Family Communications Committee, and where we hear one themed topic, and so we hear a presentation from the subject matter expert within the school district, and then people submit questions, we get the questions sort of answered, and then we open it up for dialogue. That's an hour and a half. So Mr. Smith and I were talking about how that, it's not a committee, so we need to decide, it's really not a committee, so do we need that committee? But what we were talking about was something similar to what you brought up, call it roundtable discussion opportunity, where we have a separate night where we come out here, and I'm going to use speed dating as kind of just an analogy, where we have, tables for all of us, we sit at a table and people sign up to come, all these details have to be worked out, this is just, spitballing. And we sit and we talk around the table, so we're just having a conversation, having a dialogue, with no agenda. You do, whoever gets at your table, you talk, and then we talk, and then we move to the next table, so every board member gets a chance to hear what everybody is saying, for the most part. And then to allow the communications department to kind of pick up on this topic and let them host town halls with subject matter experts where they talk about individual topics. And of course, we are invited to come, but we are not the focal point. It would be the communications department working with all the different departments in our district, so that we get, and people can write in and say, have topics that they have. Russell Clark and I have been working on what the Family Communication Committee was asking, different topics. We've got a whole long list, but that doesn't mean that's what we do. So before we vote on Mr. Wildebor's motion, I just wanted to throw that out as something that I wanted to hear everybody's input on that, because communication is obviously very important. We want dialogue, and we don't get dialogue by sitting here and call to the audience. I really want dialogue where you say something, we can answer back, kind of thing. So that's my thoughts on that.
Okay.
Ms. Justice?
Beyond that, which needs to be thought out very carefully, because everything that we say has power. Look at this suggestion about a lottery. People went a little nuts there. What we need to do is vote on what you're talking about. I think that's an excellent idea. That's a good starting point. And then from there, we can see how that works, judge, maybe do more research on what real town halls are. But you got to remember, we hear constantly from the public, boy, do we ever, and that is good. But, let's not get it so far afield that it's taking away from what our important work is. This isn't the social hour. This is very important that we focus on our job and get our stuff done. Then that's a good idea that Mr. Wildeboer is suggesting, so I like that idea. Thank you. And in a way, it's almost simple. You don't want to get too complex. Complexity causes almost more confusion, so I like the simplicity of that. Thank you.
Clarification what the motion is again, please?
Yeah, the motion was long, so I think I'm going to try to amend that motion, but go ahead and read it again, Mr. Wildeboer.
Move that we hold a meeting every third month, and again, it wouldn't be every third month, it would be March, July, September, with the only purpose to hear from our stakeholders and the public for a period of 2 hours, unless there are not enough sign-ups. I further move that the only business except for the pledge and invocation during that meeting be the call of the audience is being held during the second meeting of the month on those months. Finally, sign-ups for the meeting are in person, with sign-ups beginning a half hour before the meeting.
Sounds good.
Wow, okay, so, and did somebody seconded that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so is there any more discussion?
I have a question. Do you have a particular arena where you want this held? Here?
Right here.
Okay.
Sign-ups in person, just to clarify, that's what you said. Sign-ups in person, just to clarify that last part.
That way there we
That's
would
what you
make sure
said.
that people here that turn me on, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. It would be, my thought would be that the signups would be here, that way we would know, we wouldn't have a situation where somebody, a good group that don't show up and that kind of thing.
Would there be a structure to that sign-up, just in line? Would there be I guess I'm asking details.
I think, we would open the door a half hour early and people could come in and sit down, on their way in, they would sign up for if they wanted to speak, or, some people may want to just come and hear what was said.
Would you cap that? Would you cap it to a certain number, or because I guess I'm thinking of time management.
Well, I think maybe we follow the same rules as we have, where it's, if we had a big sign up, then we would go, 2 minutes. Otherwise, hopefully we could actually give people 3 minutes. That would be my hope, that, people could actually get 3 minutes to speak.
I would like to make a motion to amend that motion, is that we either take a pause and let our communications department work with us on this, or we put together an ad hoc committee to discuss all these details, because there's a lot of details that are going on. A lot of details going on. So I would like to make that motion, the amendment to your motion.
If I could respond to that, I'm not suggesting we start this anytime soon, suggesting I think we have plenty of time between now and March to work out the details.
But that is soon. But
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
I'm fully in support. We shouldn't really be sitting here making decisions on the whim about specifically what it's going to look like. I'll publicly state my support. Let's just put this into the policy committee and come up with a exact way so we can iron out all these specific details rather than 7 of us just trying to figure out. We absolutely, in my opinion, do not need another ad hoc committee. We can just we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
So we can all figure it out in our policy committee and bring it back to the board at our next meeting.
Well, I will rescind my motion to that. Mr. Wildebohr, are you interested in rescinding your motion?
My first motion?
Yes, the original.
No, I think we should bring it to I agree with Mr. Boyer that we should bring.
So did
this
you just make a
motion.
motion on top of my motion?
Jeez.
All right.
No, but I agree with his bringing it to the policy committee. So I have no problem with bringing this to the policy committee, but.
We don't need a motion to do that
Well, if
because it's
you-
really specific.
And especially since this is information, we don't really need to vote on anything. So is it acceptable that you put a proposal together and you bring it to policy, and then we figure out if we need to write a new policy or if we include it in a policy that's already existing? Is that acceptable?
It would
Because
be an
right now, you're
amendment.
making a motion, so
Right,
if you're
I have
making a
a motion on the
motion,
floor
then
with a
you're going to
second.
force a vote. Or we table the motion till another time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand up, Judy.
Well, policy's all well and good, and so is this communication department, but I think March is soon enough. And I would like to go ahead and vote on your motion. I really would, because I don't want things to disappear, and I'm afraid they might. It happens too often around here, because the public does need to have more input, and I think it's a great idea. So since we're having a discussion on it, I would like to see your motion at least be voted on and stay in place. Then if they accept it, then they can send it to policy, we can discuss it here next meeting and decide if this is format.
Okay. Yes,
I just want to say, was Mr. Boyer's an amendment to Mr. Wildebohr's?
I don't know, I'm so
No,
confused.
it was not an amendment.
He
It was
didn't
just
specify,
a
he
point.
just-
Do you want it to be a motion?
No,
Because otherwise it cannot go directly to
no,
policy.
no.
Okay.
Let's just vote.
I'd like to perhaps make a suggestion.
You want to jump in? Yeah, please.
So perhaps, if Mr. Wildebohr, if you agree, the motion could be to direct policy committee to either adopt a new policy or to amend an existing policy that would contain the 3 meetings that you've contemplated.
And then they bring it back here.
I'm fine with that.
Okay with you, Mr.
And involve John.
I'll second.
Okay, so you're amending that to, Mr. Scheib, would you just say that out loud again for us?
So I don't think it would be any amendment. I think that would just be the motion itself. And it would be a motion to direct policy committee to formulate a new policy or to revise an existing policy as the policy committee sees fit that would memorialize the 3 town hall meetings per year as Mr. Wildebohr has suggested.
And I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that?
Well, it's a pretty good start, that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, all right, so since we have a motion and a second, Ms. Bowie, would you please call the roll?
Miss Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Billiard?
Aye.
Miss Justice?
Aye.
Mr. McManus?
Yes?
Miss Walker?
Yes,
Mr. Wildebohr?
Aye.
And Miss Craybill?
Aye. Okay, so that motion passes 7-0. So that does not take us out of the conversation that I brought forth. So I am interested in making a change to our call to the audience. And that's what I brought up for information. And so I am not looking for necessarily a vote. I'm looking for if you guys are in favor of doing sign up in a different way, because we don't have to, there doesn't have to be a policy change, because in the policy, it basically just says that the board chair can put into, can put into play whatever we need to do. I would never put anything into play without having your, your affirmation with that. Ms. Justice.
Okay. We wouldn't be having this problem right now if we had addressed a lot of things sooner. The public's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. They keep asking for concerns to be addressed. We start addressing these problems, then a lot of this would go away. And this is not we are fine, honestly. I want to hear the public. People that have enough, just about everybody speaking at the call the audience knows that the sooner they get in the morning, they can get on there. I honestly have never heard anybody say they couldn't. I guess I'm.
We've had 3 people come talk to us, and I can
no,
put
that
those
you
out
can't.
for
That's
you.
fine. I just said I haven't, and I've
Well,
been
you
on
had
this.
to have. You were sitting here.
What are you referring to?
People who stand right there at call to the audience and say, I know people who cannot get on. Please look at your policy.
I'm sorry. I've been hearing so many things, but that does not stick out of my brain, okay?
I can find them and send them to you just so you know.
But beyond that,
Hold on, let's let Ms. Justice finish her time.
well, it's not time. This is part of the process.
Finish your comment.
The point is that it would work, and it is working. Sometimes it's longer than others. Some people might get occasionally, and I did not know it was a big problem. I've been on this board for 3 years. But they need to have a way to be able to communicate with us, and we need to solve some of these problems and quit ignoring them. Not ignoring them, putting them down the road. You can't keep kicking them down the road. They're not going to disappear because they're obviously huge to the public. And I don't think changing signups or anything else is going to change the fact that we need to do our job.
Okay, Ms. Walker?
I would just like to say I'm not in favor of doing a lottery because I believe that people know sign-up times, and if they're passionate about what they want to talk about, they'll sign up in time, and if they don't, they don't. And I do agree that if we address some of these issues, we probably wouldn't, it's a direct reflection on, the people in the community and what they really are passionate about. And I feel like I don't think a lottery system is going to help with that. I just feel like we should stay with what we're doing.
Okay. Well, let me just go here. Do you mind?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Mr. McManus, I'm looking right at you.
I think it's a fair question. Do we need, if I remember the last meeting, do we need 17 people talking about the same thing? Do we need to say the first 4 that want to address X, the next 4 can address, I don't know, I'm just talking aloud. But we had 29 people, then 8 or 9 didn't show up, so we added 3 or 4 at the end. But we had 17 people.
No, we didn't add them at the end. There was a glitch in them
Okay.
signing
But
up.
we
So
had
they were
16,
signed up
17
for a
people, because I
reason.
checked them, who spoke about the same thing. And, I'm not trying to keep my speaking about it, but I don't think we need 17 people. I hear you, I promise, I think we all do.
But and to that point, there are other boards that I surveyed that they limit the number of speakers that can talk on one topic. So after you get to 5 people talking on subject A, then no more people can sign up for subject A until the end, if there's room. So that, okay, Ms. Adams.
I just think that we need to stop controlling everything. In this case, we've changed call to the audience about 6 months ago. The new process, or the newer process, has been working. I agree with what Ms. Walker said. People now understand if you want to speak, you've got to get on at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. And as long as we continue to reiterate that, and the other thing with public comment, it's going to ebb and flow. It's been insane for the past year. For a couple months, it wasn't like that. When there were issues like redistricting, we were full. It depends on the issues, right? It's not always going to be like this, but I do think that, I don't think that we need to control every aspect of call to the audience. I think that if 17 people want to speak on something, it's the same thing with emails. How many emails have we received on specific topics? There's power in those numbers. So I think it's important to let people speak to what they want to speak to. If we continue to publicize to everyone how to get access, and if they don't get access, send us an email, because we are reading those as well.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wildebohr?
Well, a couple things. I'd like to talk about, I think the in-person really is something we've kind of got away from. I do want to thank Ms. Adams because she actually let us, get back to 5 people. But I think maybe having more folks sign up here, because some people, like say a teacher wants to come talk to us. Well, he or she may be teaching at 8 o'clock in the morning, so they can't get on. You don't want them to stop teaching to go get on the computer so they can get on here. So I think maybe having a minimum of 10 people here and letting other people sign up in case we do have situations that people don't come, that kind of thing. So we can get, we do want to hear from all our constituents. So I think it is important. I think Ms. Justice has got a point. I think we've heard from some folks month after month after month after month, but it's because we haven't ever taken a vote about it. I mean, so we need to take, I think we need at some point soon, we need to go ahead and take that vote, and that way whatever the vote is, it is, but then at least there's an end to it, and people can feel like they're, it's not, I've said that same thing to you 5 months in a row because it's important to me. I'm passionate about it. Let's go ahead and listen to them and at least do them the justice of voting for them.
Okay,
Voting
Mr. Williams?
one way or the other.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Taking a vote. Sorry.
Yeah, just very briefly, I do take, I totally disagree with the idea that we haven't done anything. It's hard to see what we've done, but I'm not going to sit here and say, well, our staff isn't doing anything, we're not listening. That's not the case. We are listening to the TAs with their pay. We put out a salary study. We're listening to the Save Our Children or Love Our Children group. We are working with our student support services to make sure that's done. So that's just off the table for me. The other thing is, if you're going to do this, just open it up at 7 o'clock. I've heard every single one of you guys up here talking about teachers and students, and none of them can sign up at 8 a.m. And the thing closes at 8:01 or 8:02 the last 3 months. So, I do think there is an important voice that is being missed, and that's all I would say. If you don't want to do a lottery, we have this new system where we can have extra meetings, fine. Open it up at 8 p.m. on Thursday night or Friday night, and let's just be done.
Okay.
Just
Yes.
briefly. Yeah, just briefly. The more we don't do, the more people listen and come in. It started off with 1 or 2 about this suspension for the small ones. Now look at the numbers. We've got to address these problems. Contrary to what some people think, this has been going on for over a year. I don't think we have been addressing them properly. And if, the sooner we get it done, the more we can move forward. Otherwise, we're just going to have more and more people.
Okay, so I'm hearing no to switching the call of the audience to the lottery system. I'm fine with that because that's what our board wants to do. I think some of the other little nuances, I can work with Crystal to see how we can get more people signed up. The only thing that I want to just ask, do we want to put less on online and more in person?
I would like to do that.
We don't have to vote, we just need some kind of consensus. Do we want to do that or not? Do we want to have 25 sign up online and 5 here, or do we want to have 20 sign up online and 10 here? And then we can have as many as we have, and if people don't show up, the people on the bottom of the in here sign up can go.
Again, I'm
Does
going
anybody
to,
have any thoughts on, do you want to do, because that's something we can easily just do right now.
I personally would like to, number one, as you said the other day, we had 9 folks that didn't show up online, so we ended up, no, I'm not saying wasting time, but we had we didn't hear from as many people as we possibly could. So I think having it sign up here, and I would like to see it move up to 10 because we know those people are actually here. Nothing against the people that do it online, but things come up. I totally understand that. It could be, you got a flat tire on the way here. But, again, somebody else could have that opportunity to speak. So.
Okay, one more comment because we are like 20 minutes over discussion time.
My only pushback to that comment would be that people that sign up online know that we don't do call to the audience until 6:30, 7 o'clock. So if for them to come, let's say they don't get online they would have to be here to sign up if it's being released at 4:30. So now you're waiting 2 hours. So I just take that into consideration, but I do agree that, we don't want to waste those spaces either. So I don't know what the right answer is, but.
All right, I will work on that with Crystal. We will not change the policy, we will not change our format. We may tweak the numbers of which and which, but we'll just go forward from there. Is that okay? Is everybody good with that?
Thumbs up.
Okay, great. Thank you for the discussion. I appreciate the time.